You ever hit that 3 p.m. slump and suddenly you're questioning every single decision you've ever made? Like, why did I even agree to go out? And also answer all my emails today. But yep, you've been there too. So let me put you on real quick to Bloom Supplements. As you get to know Fani, you will learn that I love a good supplement. Something to make me feel better and just really help my body feel good about itself when it's feeling like, nena, we are struggling and we need help bad. That's when I'm like, yo, I need a solution. Now, a homegirl introduced me to Bloom, and of course, the branding got me off rip. I'm a sucker for good branding. I'll say it over and over again. The greens, fire. The pre and probiotics got my gut feeling like it's on a yoga retreat. The energy drinks, I love the strawberry watermelon down, especially with a little sparkling water and fresh squeeze of lime. And since we're still getting to know each other, just so you know, I read all of the labels. It doesn't have any weird fillers, no fake nonsense, just plant-based magic that tastes good. And you know that's a blessing because I'm not gonna hold you. Some of these green powders and healthy drinks saben a puro ya tu sabes. But Bloom is that girl, and I love her. So if you're trying to glow up desde adentro pa' afuera, trust me, Bloom's got you. Head to bloomnu.com, BLOOMNU.com, and get you some. Because wellness should feel good and taste good, and Bloom does just that. It's time to lock in. Too long to listen starts now. Bendiciones, mi gente. I hope everyone had an amazing week last week. It's been such a joy seeing how much love y'all have poured into this little show off rip. Like, me emociono just thinking about it. Y'all love me. Y'all really love me. Yes, I'm still in PR. It's been kind of rainy and stormy here, not gonna hold you, but it's been beautiful nonetheless. It's always a great day to wake up in Puerto Rico. Let me repeat that. It's always a great day to wake up in Puerto Rico. I love being back home. It's been such a great experience for me because it allows me to really recalibrate my spirit. Being home is so grounding for me, so I am at peace, truly at peace. For this week's episode, we are going to be celebrating our friends in podcasting. I know everybody got a podcast nowadays, and a lot of those podcasts are hosted by friends of mine. If your friends aren't the first ones showing up for you and using their platforms to big you up, are they even your friends? And I don't mean that your friends should be part of your marketing plan because they shouldn't. No one should be expecting their homies to be the first ones to share, like, and comment. Most oftentimes, the people that are expecting that type of energy aren't even doing it themselves. They're not sharing everybody's stuff. If you look on their pages, not one repost, not one share. Their stories don't got nobody else's stuff on it but their own. Like, calmate. In this case, I mean that if you have any type of platform like this one, and you have the ability to plug your people, you better turn into a surge protector and plug your people. On today's roster, we have an amazing lineup of podcasts. Today we have Women in Progress, hosted by my girl, Maura Chance. We have Getting Grown Podcast, hosted by my homegirl, Jade and Kia. And we have Drink Champs, hosted by Nori and my guy, DJ EFN. I know I have way more friends with podcasts, but we're just going to start light because we'd be here for days. I got a lot of feedback from last week's episode, and y'all said y'all wanted me to talk about the podcast a bit more and really deep dive into them. So that's exactly what y'all are going to get. But before we get into the shows and everything else, let's pause for a brand moment. As you may already know, most of us ethnic folks are lactose intolerant. We do not come from cows, so of course, naturally, regular milk is going to cause some issues for us. So when I found out about Ghost Town Oats, I instantly became a fan. Because you mean to tell me that we have an oat milk brand created by Black queer baristas like on some FUBU energy, and its branding is pink, instant cop, And after the first taste, I was sold for life. So much so that I even invested a little bit of my coins into the brands. It's exactly what I need for my cafecitos, my cereal in the morning, lo que sea. You name it, and I'm going to make it with Ghost Town Oats. I even used it to make coquito for the holidays for my vegan and lactose intolerant friends because they too deserve to enjoy our Boricua holiday traditions too. Supporting Ghost Town Oats is like putting your money where your values are, and I love that for me too because I really don't have to question if the company I'm supporting aligns with what I'm about as a person. So next time you're at the coffee shop, ask for Ghost Town Oats. And if you need some for the crib, go to ghosttown.world and see how you too could be great with a pink carton of Ghost Town Oats. Now this week, before we tap into the shows, it's time for me to share all of my thoughts. And of course, I have them. Don't worry, I have them. Today, I have a bone to pick with y'all on Threads. Every single business day, I see someone asking to be connected with some type of creative. No location, no contact info, no transparency on if it's a paid job or not. Just looking to connect with a videographer for a shoot this weekend. Are y'all okay? Do you have an ounce of professionalism that exists in your body? Let's gather around the bonfire and share why it's so important to put out as many details as possible when you're sourcing talent of any kind. Why are y'all so vague? Is this your first time? Like, how are people supposed to know where to go? How are people supposed to know if that post applies to them and they need to respond? You don't have your location in your bio. You can't tell where you're from or where you're hiring for. Who knows if you're even hiring for a place that you live in? And that's the thing. When you're sourcing talent, you have to provide as many details as you can without violating your NDA or maybe giving away your project. I know there's secrecy to some things, but we can be vague and still be detailed at the same time. Like, let's be for real here. Tell people where you're located. Tell people how much they're going to get paid. Or if it is a paid job, maybe you don't have to tell them how much they're getting paid. But there's things that we should know. It's starting to feel like you're farming for engagement. And that sucks because in an era where people are looking for work and hoping that your post might be something for them, they don't need vague. They need real details, and y'all need to start providing them. It's getting out of hand. And don't get me started on the people who ask people to work for free in this economy. Everything is expensive. It costs money to get places. If you can't come out of pocket and at least cover some of my expenses to get to you, I think you're no different than the billionaires you ask everyone to eat. You should be able to give people gas money, food money, something. Anything helps. But if you need someone to work with you and you can't afford to pay them, you might need to figure that out. Ask one of your friends to look out for you. And don't give me the, but you get experience answer, because the reality is that even at an entry-level position, I firmly believe that everyone should get paid something. I'm the type of person to try and fight to get people more money. So I would hope other people would be the same. But the reality is greed. Greed is an incredible drug that a lot of y'all are addicted to. Couldn't be me. I'd rather more of us get to the top together than it just be me. And I can't get to the top with all of y'all unless we're fighting for each other to get paid properly. Maybe that's just in me and the way I think. Maybe it's that I feel like people should be compensated for their time. We are fighting for our lives out here in this economy. Every time we turn around, things are getting more expensive. And you want me to show up for you for free? There's a very select few people that I will show up for the free. And that's out of the love I have in my heart and that I believe in what they're working on. And I know that they need the support. Y'all are asking strangers, people who don't know you, people who don't trust you. And the thing about me and the way I give my time for free is we all give each other that love back and forth. It's a constant exchange of energy, services, alley-oop, recommendations for work. You need me, I got you. That's the community that I exist in. That's why I can afford to work for free sometimes, because we pay each other all the time. And that's how it should be. Sometimes you show up for your friends for the love of, and sometimes you look out for each other and make some money together. It shouldn't be this complicated. Everybody want to talk about community until it's time to act like one. But that's my conversation for another day. I'm not going to get into all these podcasts on this energy. So let me just turn my spirit around, because I this topic gets me hot. But listen, let's pay people. We all deserve to be paid, and we all deserve to be paid well for our time. And it's time we start fighting for that. And the reason why we can't get ahead is because there's so many of y'all willing to step on others who said no because they weren't getting paid or because everything was just so demanding that it wasn't realistic for somebody to show up for this project or whatever it is. And then there's always that one person, I'll do it. Of course you will. And this is why we're in the cycle that we're in. Maybe one day we'll learn our lessons. And now it's time for some podcast. I feel like that could be a song. And now it's time for some podcast. They really shouldn't have let me get this mic. Oh man, but like I mentioned earlier in the episode, today we're talking about my friends who podcast. Being in creative spaces, I've had the absolute privilege of meeting some incredible people along the way. And those people just happen to have pretty cool podcasts. Let's get started with my girl, Mara. Mara and I met through social media by having a ridiculous amount of friends in common and also existing in the same spaces. I can't remember how long ago, but I know it's been a few years. Mara and I did meet up in person for brunch one day while I was on a work trip in Atlanta. And I love that for us because we had the nicest time. It made me realize how beautiful the internet can be because look at us meeting in the URLs and taking it to the IRLs. There's something we all go through, but rarely give ourselves enough grace for. That GPS rerouting journey we all call progress. You start with this picture in your head, a job title, a relationship, a home, a physique, lo que sea. And somewhere along the way, life says, cute plan, but here's a plot twist. And before you know it, you're in a completely different scene than you imagined. Growth rarely shows up in a straight line. It shows up in the detours, in the pivots, in the U-turns, and in those surprise left turns that lead you somewhere better than what you were even aiming for. And that's exactly the heart of Women in Progress, the podcast hosted by the incredibly insightful Maura Chance. It's not just a series of interviews. It's like a living archive of our stories. Maura sits down with women from all walks of life, creatives, entrepreneurs, activists, trailblazers, to unpack what it really looks like to grow, evolve, and architect a life on your own terms. These aren't glossy, airbrushed origin stories either. They're real, unfiltered accounts of big leaps, big lessons, spectacular quits, strategic pivots, and moments of hard-won clarity. Every conversation is a reminder that there is no single definition of success, and that progress can be messy, non-linear, and absolutely beautiful. Mara's own story is a masterclass in this. After more than a decade running her own business, she made the choice to go back in-house and become an employee again. And we all know I know how that feels too. But here's the twist. It wasn't a step back. It was a strategic move to learn new systems, recharge, and set herself up for her next season. She even talks about manifesting her dream home in just a week, but it wasn't magic. It was years of quietly holding the vision, doing the practical work, and staying open to the fact that it might show up in a way that she didn't plan. And her shift in love? Mwah, chef's kiss. She moved from chasing fireworks to choosing peace. Because yes, fireworks are exciting, but they burn out fast. Peace lasts. And finding a partner who shares the light with you instead of trying to dim it, that is the real romance. Her guests bring equally powerful wisdom too, like the episode with Jamila Watkins-Mallet, an Emmy-nominated design producer who measures progress by the time between breakdowns, a reframing that makes setbacks part of the process, not a sign that you failed. Jamila shares her case method for designing both spaces and lives with purpose. I also listened to the episode with Anne Zarot a little closer because Anne is also an extremely wonderful and talented friend of mine. I just love hearing her stories and insight from the design and architecture worlds. Anne walked away from corporate architecture with no backup plan. Not for drama or anything, but for alignment. Like her eye for detail is out of this world, and the way she fuses functionality with beauty is literally what gets me going. I love Anne, and I love watching Anne's story. The homes that she's able to share with us, the spaces that she's worked on. It's so beautiful because I personally don't know that many women in architecture let alone Black women in architecture. So I love to celebrate Anne and support anything that she's working on if I can. There was also an episode Mara did with Grammy-winning artist Melanie Fiona, who blends music with motherhood so seamlessly that you wonder why we were ever told it had to be either or. Melanie opens up about integrating her art with being a mom, turning classic songs into lullabies, and creating the Mama's Den, a community where mothers can show up authentically. What all of these stories have in common is this: they prove that our paths are ours to design. Sometimes that means pivoting. Sometimes it means saying no. Sometimes it's about waiting for exactly what you want instead of settling for what's right in front of you. And sometimes it's about throwing out the checklist entirely and asking, what feels right? And doing just that. Women in Progress is a bi-weekly show and episodes are a little under an hour, perfect to listen to while you're on the way to meet up with a homegirl for lunch. I'm proud of you, Mara. This is such a beautiful show. Up next, we are going to talk about a show that maybe you've heard of already, Drink Champs. Mira, you ever listen to something you feel like you pulled up a chair at the most poppin' Domino's table in the room? That's Drink Champs. You've got Nori, a Puerto Rican rap legend from Queens with enough energy to power like half of the grid Luma can't get right, and DJ EFN, Miami hip-hop pioneer and also dear friend of mine. Together, they create this space where the drinks are flowing, the jokes are rolling, and the truth, it just comes out. Not one single polished convo has come out of that podcast. It's straight up raw and unfiltered. EFN and I met, I want to say like 10 or 15 years ago in the Miami hip-hop scene. I used to be outside for real and tried to support as much local music as possible when I was younger. EFN has done so much for Miami artists and really gave them a platform and still does. You don't see that type of community often, so I love how he's always made sure everyone got their shine. I remember when he told me he was starting this podcast. To see what it's grown into has been incredible, and I'm extremely proud. They've been doing this since like 2016, over 600 episodes. What's their magic? Control chaos. Nori's the wild card, asking questions out of left field, catching guests off guard, and in the best way. EFN, he's the grounding force, bringing the conversation back to those nuggets of wisdom. And listen, the people they bring on, legends and straight shooters, like Lunel, la reina de la honestidad. I fucking love Lunel. I want to give her the biggest hug and tell her how much her being unapologetically her means to me. You know, I bring that up a lot, but it's true. She was out here on the show talking about how back in the day, if someone disrespected you, you might handle it in the street. Now it's all lawsuits and Instagram shade. And she's wild, but that's true. And she's making a point about accountability and realness. And then the T-Pain episode, his episode kind of like, it made me sad for him. Like, I love T-Pain. I remember when his very first singles came out. Like, I'm Sprung still gets played at full volume for me. And his episode was pure vulnerability. He changed the game with autotune after hearing it on a J-Lo remix. But then Usher told him he messed up music, and that really cut him deep. And I get why it would. It sent him into like a 4-year depression. Jay-Z's death of autotune felt like another shot for him too. But he came out of it saying, I'm not here to please strangers. His philosophy now, longevity over quick hits, personal integrity over public opinion, and I fuck with that heavy. What do I love most about Drink Champs? Is that they make people drop the act. They laugh, they confess, they share the messy parts. And as a listener, you feel like you're in on it, not just watching from the outside. It's the same in every episode. Anderson .Paak bringing West Coast wisdom, Rick Ross dropping boss energy, Estelle radiating with warmth. Different stories, a same raw heart. There have been moments where I was like, no, not that guest. Why would you bring them on and give them a platform? But that's who they wanted to have a conversation with, and I respect that. I can always just skip. So if you want curated, brand-safe interviews, este podcast no es pa ti. They are not here to please you. They're here to let you in on conversations that they're having with people they want to have them with. They don't care if you don't like the way Nori talks over people. They don't care if you think they drink too much. It's literally called Drink Champs. They're having fun and they're letting us watch. Literalmente. Episodes are like 1 to 2.5 hours long and are dropped weekly. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll join them on the show. Technically, back in 2016, I had my homegirl deliver some coquito to the show, which they drank while recording. I'll have to find pictures and share it with you one day. Tune into Drink Champs for industry, insight, and storytelling. They've got stories for real. And I have more podcasts that my fire friends have done, but I'm going to save them for other episodes because I have more stuff planned and I really am excited to share the love about these shows with y'all. We would be here for literally 5 hours if I spoke about all of them. No BS. Like, we would be here for a very long time. So I'm going to save some podcasts for other episodes. So another wonderful, wonderful friend of mine, Jade, has a podcast that she's been doing for 8 years. 8 years she's been in this, a lot longer than some of y'all. It's called Getting Grown. And let me tell you, it's like sitting at your prima's kitchen table chismeando, laughing, maybe crying a little bit, and definitely learning a little something about yourself. Co-hosted by Kia, this show has 2 happy, hardworking women sharing their thoughts and experiences with us. They're not up here lecturing you from some perfect adult pedestal. Nah, they're figuring it out right alongside us. Bills, boundaries, finding purpose, messy relationships, de todo. And they do it in a way that makes you feel like we are really all in this together, like for real. Their whole vibe is kitchen table talk. And if you grew up like me, you know that's sacred. That's where the magic happens. Stories, consejo, the cousins laughing so hard, you can't hear what's playing in the background. It's where hard truths get served with asopao. And like I said before, they've been doing this for 8 years. Over 400 episodes. That is consistency. And the topics, they've got everything from petty peeves, you know, like when someone leaves one sad square of toilet paper and calls it restocked, to deep dives into Black women's self-care. One of my favorite episodes, playing golf. And no, it's not about golf club. It's about joy and rest as acts of rebellion. When I heard that, I was like, yes. Because especially for women like me, society has this way of expecting us to como que always be clocked in, carrying all of the baggage, choosing rest, choosing joy. That's not laziness. That's resistance. That is power. I have been in this era of myself where I've been making sure to rest. I spent so much time overworking myself that I literally burned out. The light of me was just about done, and I was ready to just not anymore. The minute I chose myself and remembered that no matter what, there will always be work to do. That's when my life changed. Take a moment to regroup so that you too could be even better at work. And that's exactly what I did. I'm enjoying the mountain life. I'm enjoying this quiet, peaceful life. I'm enjoying the ability to just turn it all off because for years, I didn't think that was possible for me. And I love that I've found this new way of living my life because now I say no. And now I take a break. When 6 o'clock comes, my laptop is closed. And if you know me, you know that's a crazy picture. They also had this episode called Clutter vs. Culture, talking about how your home decor tells your life story. You know, like how your living room says minimalist chic. For me, my house looks like a cross between a Justina Blakely Jungalo Pinterest post to a little bit of maximalism with a touch of a salsa nightclub. And I'm kind of okay with that. What I love the most about this show, though, is the community. They celebrate their listeners, graduations, big wins, small wins. They even took their own show on tour. And that's how you know it's real, when a podcast family becomes an actual family. Episodes range from 1 to 2 hours and drop every Tuesday. So if you've ever felt like adulting is some never-ending puzzle with missing pieces, Getting Grown is like that friend who hands you a glass of wine and says, relax, girl, and helps you put it together piece by messy piece. Ugh, I love listening to all of these amazing women speak, so I'm tuned in when episodes drop. And now, it's time for Too Long Didn't Listen. Remember that TLDL is my final verdict on each of these shows. Like, think Rotten Tomatoes, but for podcasts. We'll decide if the show is an absolute must-listen, if you should skip to a certain timestamp, it's too long and you will not listen, or who even let these folks buy podcast equipment. For today's episode, for me, Woman in Progress is a must-listen. I just love what Mara is doing there, and I think those episodes truly could be of service to the person listening to them. Getting Grown is also a must-listen to me because sometimes you need to hear women your age talking shit and sharing space with each other. It really does feel like I'm sitting right there with both of them. Drink Champs usually is a must-listen for me, but sometimes I'm guilty like some of the internet and skipping to certain timestamps. And it's no shade against the guys whatsoever. Sometimes I just need to get to a certain clip of audio that I heard on the internet from one of their posts just to get more context. I do end up going back to listen, but a lot of times I might be skipping to a timestamp. Anyways, you'll have to keep listening to new episodes of Too Long to Listen because I'll definitely keep plugging friends as new episodes air. And before I get into my mic drop of the week, let me tell you about a brand that I love. Listen, I do not play when it comes to protecting my hair, okay? Whether I'm rocking fresh curls or a new set of braids, my Saint Cayman eye bonnets is part of my nighttime routine along with the skincares. Once I'm ready for Betty, I pull down the built-in eye mask and tuck in. I've been using their bonnets for at least a year, and let me tell you, these aren't your regular beauty supply bonnets. Baby, the quality, luxury. The fit, secure, but never too tight because you can adjust it. It stays in place even when I'm tossing and turning around in my sleep. But I don't just use it to go to bed. I also use it on the plane too. Baby, I pull out my eye bonnet and pull down the eye mask like I'm sitting in first class, even if I'm really in 22A. So whether you sleep wild, travel often, or just want your hair to stop breaking up with you, head over to stcayman.com and let them know Fani sent you by using code FANITOPLUG for little discounts, and your hair will say thank you. For this week's mic drop of the week, I really need to tell y'all how attacked I felt listening to the latest episode of Fuck You Money. So Ty goes on to say, y'all will buy all of these Apple products, hair care products, clothes, shoes, all of these things that you claim you just can't live without, but you won't invest in those brands. If you love these products so much, you should invest in them so that they can make you some money. And honestly, that put a lot into perspective because if I'm so willing to spend my money with the brands, why not invest in it? Y'all heard in the Ghost Town Oats ad that I did invest a few dollars of mine into the brands. And that's because I believe in it and also love it, so it was a no-brainer. But I really never thought about other brands like that. Ty is the biggest Apple product hater, but ask him how much Apple stock he has. Definitely more than the average loyalist like myself, and we need to be called out. Why aren't we investing back in the brands that we spend so much money on? It doesn't make sense. Like when you think about it, we own all of these. We are loyalists to brands. The minute we find a brand that we love, we consistently buy into it. So why aren't we investing in it? It put a lot into perspective for me while listening to that episode. So thank you, Ty. Thank you for calling us out. On our first ever Ask Fani Anything, someone has asked, Fani, what's your favorite dessert? Which I will, of course, answer because I absolutely love sweets. First off, flan de queso. I will always have time for flan de queso. I will be judging it because I make a damn good flan de queso myself, but I'll always try someone else's. I'm also obsessed with cheesecake and creme brulee. If either of those are on the menu, I am ordering. Back in March, my friend put me on to Ube cheesecake, and I wish she wouldn't have done that because I think about it all of the time. Like, first off, when I go back to LA, I think I'm gonna get it. Clearly, I love custardy treats, so please let me know where your favorite cheesecake or flan or creme brulee is. And let me know what your favorite desserts are, because what if you introduce me to my new favorite? We will become best friends. And lastly, it's time for Fani's faves. Today's favorite is the plátano. I can't live in a world without plantains. I will always choose plátanos. I think most dishes taste better with plátanos as an accompaniment. I prefer my ceviche with tostones over plantain chips, and that's not to pit two bad bitches against each other. I just love what I love. Funny story that no one really knows, but my grandmother used to be the director of inmate grievance for the state of New York, and she fought hard for inmates in New York to be able to have access to plátanos. It was this whole ordeal. She had to prove that they could be eaten uncooked. Now, we love our plátanos in my family, and we will fight for your right to keep eating them. I'm telling you, the love for plátanos is real. Plantains will always have a place in my house. If I'm not eating plantains, something's wrong with me. I promise you. Okay, my good people, today was a cute episode for us. Thank you so much for tuning in. On next week's episode, we are going to be talking about reality TV, podcasts that cover all things reality. Bravo Universe, Netflix shows, Peacock, you name it. There's a lot of reality TV out there for us. There's a lot of podcasts out there. that live and breathe reality. Please like, comment, share, give us 5 stars on all the platforms. Leave some comments and let me know what you think of the episodes. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, whatever. I love talking to new people and finding out what they think. Stream Too Long to Listen on all of your favorite platforms. And as always, if something here moved you, send it to your group chat. Hit me up on socials. Let me know what you're listening to, because at the end of the day, the only way we really learn is by listening. Muchísimas gracias, mi gente. Los quiero mucho. I appreciate you always for giving me your time. The pleasure is always mine. Signing off with so much love. Catch y'all next Monday. Bendiciones. Love, Fanny.